Welcome back. We continue our on-the-record debate, but let's first hear from you. We asked you to wade in on the debate around smokers' rights and around the new tough proposed laws. Let's take a listen.
Rules and regulations will help us a lot, especially people who are not smoking. For us who are not smoking, because we are suffering a lot, because smokers, they don't mind about us, they don't care about other people, they'll be just smoking in public, they just smoke. So will be far much better now, but the problem will be one, how to enforce it. How is the government make sure that people doesn't smoke on public places?
A good thought. So let's kick off with that. A reminder of our guests. We're joined by the Tobacco Institute of Southern Africa in Sea Point, Francois van der Merwe, Executive Director of the National Council Against Smoking in studio, Savera Kaladin, and from the Gauteng Liquor Association, Musa Nshangase. Can it be enforced, these very stringent laws?
So they're laws that improve our existing laws. They're not, they're not more stringent than they need to be to get the impact that we want, which is to reduce consumption. So most of our laws around smoking have been self-regulating. The minute you put up a no smoking sign, 90% or 95% of people will actually comply with that. And what
so we're
happens
a law-abiding nation. That's interesting.
Well, when it comes to smoking, we've been very good, actually, because you don't find people smoking in the cinema, on the planes. You don't find them, you don't find them outside of the designated areas in restaurants or places like that. So the other thing about the law and improving the law in this way is that it signals to everyone that secondhand smoke is harmful, if we had forgotten. It also signals to non-smokers that they have rights which they can exercise, and if they are aware of their rights, which they will become increasingly aware through this kind of media focus on the issue, then they will exercise their rights as well and just say politely, as most people do, hey, there's a no smoking sign there, please don't smoke.
Musa, what do you think about enforcement? And this is something that Savera has raised. Remember when we started with the designated areas for smokers, all the restaurants were saying nobody will go out and nobody's going to come and visit us and we're going to lose business. But now we're used to it, very used to it. You have that closed off section or you go outside. Won't it just become a new normal and taverns will deal with it?
Look, let me protect our businesses, our small businesses, small and micro businesses in the township. We are saying these proposed regulations can never be enforced in a township landscape. They can never be enforced. For example, if a lady walks out of the premises to go and smoke, that lady is risking about her life because she can be raped, she can be mugged.
So safety concerns. Savera is shocked by what you've just said.
Yes.
What do you want to say?
No, there are female smokers in South Africa.
Yeah. So obviously violence against women is not something that we would want to support, but neither would we want to misuse it in this way, as if to say only smoking, smokers are going to be at risk. Fewer than 3% of African women smoke in our country, and fewer than 3 in 5 men smoke, okay? African men. So the number actually is not as high as my colleague would have us believe. Yes, they would be smoking. That is why every liquor outlet should have a security guard, actually, because like any other business in the suburbs, the rights of customers need to be protected, and so it becomes the responsibility of the outlet owner to provide that security.
But small tavern owners, can they provide that?
Well, outside our premises, that's impossible. I can't go outside my premises and put a security outside there.
Well, the security is required both inside and outside.
It doesn't work like that.
Actually, because alcohol has an impact on behavior, and we have very high levels of male-on-male violence in our country fueled by alcohol. Okay, and so because of that, one of the recommendations for more than a decade has been that there should be security guards on site of every alcohol outlet in the country.
There are security guards, yes.
Well, then they will protect the women and male smokers outside.
They're not protecting on the streets. inside the premises.
Okay, so you've raised a security issue. Is this all being blown up, Musa, though, or how serious is it? I mean, you've got the Spaza Shop Association and the Tuck Shop Association saying that the sale of loose cigarettes is so vast that people will go under. I mean, how serious would it really be for tavern owners?
Look, the roving vendors, cigarette sellers, they sell cigarettes all over. But we are selling cigarettes in our places, in our taverns and shippings. So
that's part of your business, isn't it?
Yeah, that's part of our business, yeah. So it will affect our businesses. If these
and the loose cigarettes versus the cigarette packs? How big is the trade? Because that's going to be banned completely.
What, the loose cigarettes?
The loose cigarettes.
Does the law say they are going to ban it? Then I'm afraid that many people...
Is this news to you?
Many people are going to starve because they are making ends meet from that. Those kids who are selling cigarettes, they are unemployed.
Yeah, that's
they are
what the
trying to
Tuck Shop
put something on the
Association
table,
is saying.
yes.
Francois, I'm going to come to you shortly, but Severa, respond to that, because there is a thing where we need to support small business, and you do see it on the streets, the hawkers making that little bit of extra profit if they're allowed to sell that loose cigarette.
Sure. Look, it is in the bill, and that is a proposal, and I do agree with Musa. It's going to be quite difficult to enforce that. Because that would require enforcement, but you know, everyone.
So that's not something you're adamant about.
Well, I think that the issue of jobs is important, but whether or not people are surviving only on selling single cigarettes is something that I would raise questions about, because they sell a lot of other things as well. And what we really need, Musa, is jobs that will help people to make a sustainable living, a dignified living, but that does not necessarily cause the death of other South Africans. We need to find sustainable jobs that give people the income that they need, but all of us, you know, outside of even the health sector, need to look at how we skill people to get those jobs. It doesn't have to come at the expense of 42,000 lives every year.
So this is so much food for thought, because we want to encourage health in South Africa and also encourage small businesses. But I'm going to give the last word to Francois in Sea Point. And my question to you, Francois, is, don't cigarette manufacturers, I mean, you're representing the industry. Isn't there really an understanding that we do in the end have to discourage smoking, that there will be a sunset on this industry? I think, and I'm not on my high horse because I've smoked in the past, I think that if it was to be looked at right now, and there's general consensus around the world on this, smoking would not be legal. It's just because we have addicted people in the world. Shouldn't there be a general realization that this is the way we have to go?
Francis, there's an absolute realization by the tobacco industry that tobacco causes harm, and therefore we support measures that would reduce consumption. But those measures and those lawmakers need to get out of their offices and need to get real and stop cutting and pasting. If we want to have regulation that work in this country, we need to have a proper process of consultation. We hear what the small businesses say. We hear what the farmers say, their concerns. We hear what many stakeholders say. The socio-economic impact assessment that the government produced is absolutely lacking in the process that it followed. It by itself said it consulted with 11 stakeholders. It by itself says that the informal sector has not been consulted. I have an idea that about 6,000 or more submissions have been made on this bill. They consulted with 11 stakeholders. Plain packaging in Australia, by government data, has not worked. Consumption is not coming down, illicit trade is going up. Illicit operators in this country, Francis, this week in the media said they would support plain packaging because it will drive prices down and they would sell more cigarettes. So what does that mean for plain packaging as a measure to reduce consumption. We already have an illicit market, which is in the informal trade, more than 1 in 3 cigarettes is illegal. Cigarettes are sold for as little as R5 a pack in this market. It's a single stick market. How do you ban that? How do you enforce that? Go into the second economy of our country and ask the question, who are we making laws for? So in the end, we support the reduction of consumption. We support the new generation products like e-cigarettes should be given a separate regulatory framework because it could be a gateway out of smokers.
Okay, we've had to bring him down, and I know you're going mad in studio, but unfortunately that brings us to the end of the discussion. All these comments would have been heard, and sure, how many different issues here. It is hard for lawmakers. Those public comments closed, so we wait to see if this bill will be passed through Parliament. Thank you very much to my guest in Cape Town, the chair of the Tobacco Institute of Southern Africa, Francois van der Merwe. In studio, Savera Khalidin from the National Council Against Smoking, and the Secretary General of the Gauteng Liquor Forum, Musa Nshangase. And that